Good morning, Wrestling Inc. Get up, get going. Happy Tuesday. I hope you are ready to get tickled by some pro wrestling punditry here today. It's me, your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am every Tuesday to tickle up that news. It's Second City Chicago's EJ Cameron. EJ, welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily.
Good to be back, Nick. How you living, my guy?
Some days you cover the news, some days you're like quasi a part of it, and strange days, my friend, I think is the best I could describe. What is I said it was 72. I think it stretched into 96. What a weird 96 hours it's been for me.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. It's been wild. How about you? Are you good?
Good. I've been chilling. Not in the news.
Oh, well, I mean,
yeah, just laying low, man.
Doing shows, right? Like tuning to ride that ride, correct? All those wonderful. Okay.
We went to Chinatown as a cast. I got soup dumplings for the first time in my life.
Well, that's wonderful.
That's a great time.
That's really good.
Delicious. Highly recommend.
I love it. Go get yourself some soup dumplings. Is that their soup in the dumplings, or is it just like
dumplings?
Wow.
They put the meat and the soup in the dumplings, so when you pick it up, it's like little pockets of like.
Does it spill all over you when you bite into it because soup is not a hard substance, or no?
It didn't spill on me. I was kind of just like tossing them a little bit, like you eat it at an angle and like, but no spillage.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I was a pro on my first day.
I'm very interested. I kind of want to try a soup dumpling now. So, hey, I know what I'm doing with the back half of my day. I'm hunting down soup dumplings. But you know what? We're going to deal with the pro wrestling news here in the front half of my day today. Boy, howdy, we got a good one. We got a lot to get to here today. I see a lot of people already tuning in. I see a lot of people in the comments section. Thank you to fellow Nicholas here. Good morning, Nick. Good morning, Nicholas. I like your plant, right? We're gonna talk all the pro wrestling news the past 24 hours in just a minute. But then after we talk the news of the day, if you're in audio form, you're gonna hear the audio of our good friend, fellow comedian Brian Wool's conversation with Dewdrop that he had during SummerSlam weekend. Everybody loves Dewdrop. Dewdrop's gonna be in the house here after the news. Then at the end of the show for everybody, we'll dive into the mailbag. And we're going to look at AEW commentators, talk about who you guys think is the best AEW commentator, all of that. All right, let's get to it here. News you can use, news that'll leave a bruise. So like I teased at the top there, EJ, yeah, some days you cover the news, some days you like tacitly become a part of it. So yesterday on the show, if you listened or watched, you saw or heard my conversation with the director of Ric Flair's ESPN 30 for 30 documentary, Rory Karpf. He was great. He was very gracious, gave me half an hour of his time, very candid, open about working with Rick, his reaction to the Plane Ride from Hell episode, how he feels he portrayed some of Rick's exploits as compared to how Dark Side of the Ring did. So, I told everybody this is a very good interview. Listen to the interview. I did not know that Rick would actually tune into the interview. I guess I should have known that, right? But anyway, Rick did get wind of this interview. And Rick decided to include a portion of the interview in a statement that he released yesterday in response to sexual assault allegations that were levied against him in Dark Side of the Ring. Now, before we get it, that's pretty wild, EJ, right? When you just sit there and you're like, wow, how did I find myself involved in Ric Flair's response to sexual assault allegations? That's pretty heavy, man, right?
Like the history of wrestling. Everybody's heard about this plane ride for years, and now you're a part of it.
Yeah.
Yay? Probably not. You know what I mean?
I'm not happy about it because I don't really know that Rick really understood the context of what he wrote. But anyway, we'll dive into it here. So here's Rick's initial response to the allegations that were levied against him at Dark Side of the Ring. He says, every person that I've worked with, from my lawyer to my publicist to my friends, have said not to post a response. But I've never run from past behaviors before, and I'm not going to start now. I want to clarify a few things. And this is at the point where I do think that the lawyers maybe grabbing at his phone and they're running around and Rick is, going crazy.
Yeah.
Right? That's right, man.
You sit there like, whew. I told him not to say anything. So no, dude, what are you doing?
Rick's running. I'm doing it. Anyway.
Woo. Yeah.
So Rick says, about 4 years ago, I gave ESPN full access to my life for a 30 for 30 special. They covered taxes, financial issues, adultery, divorces, the passing of my child, and drinking, partying at length. And by the way, Rory Kampf, he deleted this message and then he re-uploaded it. I thought he did it because, the guy's name is Rory Karpf. His name is not Rory Kampf. I feel like, if anything, EJ, that's a very unfortunate autocorrect. Like, how often are you putting the word Kampf into your tweets, or that's what your phone thinks that's what you meant to spell? That's a little odd, right?
His Amazon books search kind of popped up, so
yeah. So Rory Kampf, as Rick says here, desperate to matter for another 15 minutes, did an interview about it this morning. Doesn't say my name, but that's the interview. When Rory's lips are moving, he's typically lying, but one part of what he said was the God's honest truth. So before we get into this, Rory is both a liar that you should not trust, but someone in this select circumstance that you should trust. Is that what we're doing? Okay.
Exactly. He's a liar until he says something that I'm cool with, is what I got. It was like, he always lies, but when he said this about me, that's the one truthful thing. It's like, no, either he is or he isn't, man.
The whole scope to this. So the clip that he decides to use here, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure that this is directly from our article, so maybe you should have given credit to Jason Ounsperth as well, who did the transcription here. Congrats, Jason. Rick used your work. He says, I'd never heard that he forced someone to touch his genitals. Karpf admitted, got it correct that time. Everything with Rick that was construed as negative, I tried to address in the 30 for 30, his drinking, his philandering, his adultery, his money problems. There's quite a bit, but never, at least in the people that I spoke to, no one ever brought up that he would force himself onto somebody. And Rick went on, I allowed my personal life and lives of my children and my wife and children to be turned upside down for one reason, whether it's good or bad, even the really bad. The truth has to matter. Even in wrestling, my issues have been well documented over my 40-plus year career. The impact of drinking too much, which nearly killed me 5 years ago, the victim here, has been told time and time and time again. The reason Rory, or anyone else for that matter, never heard stories of me forcing myself on anyone is simple. It never happened. Before we get to the second part of this here, so that is a very selective quote there. And to be fair, it's not like Rory ever says anything that insinuates he himself heard or thought that Rick was capable of assault. The tone is what I think that he is now having more regrets with. And it's something Rick does not really allude to in his statement, where he acknowledges that, this is really heavy, serious stuff. And the slate of people that he talked to about it all portrayed it in a humorous way. And while they presented it as humorous, he's the director responsible for the tone. And he went along with trying to make Rick's behavior funny or whatever. And that's now something that guy is having to grapple with, right? That's messed up. Okay.
That's a major issue. And it happened with WWE. They had that cartoon where they talked about the plane ride from hell, and they made it look like it was cute that they were like Ric Flair was opening his robe and dancing around, and it's a cartoon of him doing it, and everybody's laughing about it. And then when you really hear I'm glad Dark Side of the Ring came out, because then you hear how the stewardess feels when that happens.
Yeah.
It's been a running joke for so long, and it's like, oh yeah, he'll take his robe off and flash you. It's a nature boy.
Well, and the thing is, I think it's very callous. We have this situation here where a woman has stepped forward after a settlement, and you would think, I think a non-compete was signed here, so possibly breaking rules of what she said she would do in order to, after all these years, finally allow her truth to come forward. It reminds me in many ways of the Kavanaugh case and how much of a mess that became. And he's on the Supreme Court now. Right. Yeah. Eyes crossed emoji. So with Rick here, though, I think that he was very, or with the woman here coming forward, I think it's very callous to really discredit her in favor of Rick here, who, again, is not owning up to anything here, right? You know, we had a lot of people in this documentary who also did not deny what happened with Rick here, you know?
Yeah.
And I think just the other part of the Rory Karpf interview that is not written up and transcribed in the piece, and if you want to go listen to it, write it up, whatever you want to do. It is the part where I asked him what parts of the documentary he fought to have included in the documentary, because it's like, well, what did people not want in? What did people want in? He didn't say that Rick ever asked him to cut anything out, but he does mention that ESPN, for whatever reason, wanted him to like cut out that Rick said he masturbates twice a day. Because they're like, it doesn't, we've already kind of covered the sexual stuff and it doesn't really have to do with the drinking or whatever. It was like a creative choice. And Rory fought to have that included because he said if Rick says that he's had sex with 10,000 women, all right, meaning he's going to bed with like a different woman every night, and he's still masturbating twice a day, that shows a compulsion, right?
Yeah.
Like that shows a sexual compulsion. And a sexual compulsion mixed with a very hard partying alcohol lifestyle I don't know, man. Like, it's a very dangerous combination. We have this woman on the record who came forth with her truth. I believe women, and I think that it is a very stupid thing that Ric Flair has done here. I think that this is probably going to be the end of the road for Rick here for we don't know how long, right? And the fact that he decided to use work that I did with people that he had hurt, both me and Rory, as part of that, is really messed up. And I mean, it's completely unforgivable to me, you know?
Absolutely. I think this is going to be a huge black eye on his legacy, career, anything that we've all thought about him and what people think about him. Unfortunately, you know that there's still going to be some people out there that's going to be like, no, I'm sticking with him and blah, 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 whatever. They can do whatever they want. It's all the skeletons are falling out the closet, man. I think there's so many in the closet, the door can't close anymore, and everything's finally coming back to just, it's all falling out now.
Yeah, and I don't think we're done. I don't think we're done there. But yeah, I think there's still some shoes to drop here, unfortunately. But Rick then issued a statement, because we reached out to Rick for a statement, because he included our work as part of his statement. And then Rick sent the following statement on a statement in statement form to us. What a mess. He says, to clarify, the helicopter, as it was called, is accurate, right? Humble brag. I wish I could blame it on youth, but it was a case of drinking too much and being inappropriate, and I apologize for that and have countless times over the years. I made some bad decisions during dark periods in my life, and it is something I've spent a significant part of years I was given by the doctors in 2017 trying to make right. I condemn sexual assault in any way, shape, or form. I could and have written books, as have others, that have covered my transgressions. I've made some terrible decisions, but I've never forced myself on anyone in any way, period. And again, Rick just doubling down here. Like, I just think it is in such poor taste for Rick to go after tacitly this woman, to go after people like Rory, who are talking about how hurt they are in this moment. And that just shows a very desperate sociopath, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He's trying to cover his ass, and it's there are ways that he could have, if he was really just like everybody said, don't say anything, just stop for a second. There's no excuse. The only thing I can say is, like, in his head, he's saying he didn't because he was probably wasted and can't remember. And people who remembered it, they weren't wasted, and he just is, that's it. Like, you can't be like, I've never done that. Like, even if you don't remember it, you probably did it. And that's something you have to come to terms with.
and the problem here is it's like the gangster mentality of, protect the boys at all costs kind of thing. The reason that Rory probably didn't hear a lot of this stuff is because the people he's talking to are all friends of Rick's. Rick, like, the only person that was interviewed is part of that 30 for 30 that doesn't know Rick was Chael Sonnen. And Chael was just brought in as just like another outside the box, big high-end athlete that was inspired by Rick to kind of give his take on different periods. So this is a whole documentary of people that was put together by Rick in like another big part. And again, Rick very selective with the quotes. There's more quotes, Rick. The balance that Rory talks about struggling with of access versus the truth, right? Like you want to tell the truth of somebody, but you also want to be able to get access to them. He compared it to the Michael Jordan Last Dance documentary, right? Like you're going to get a kind of biased documentary in some ways because you're going to be working directly with the source, and the source is going to give their side of it and lead you down that rabbit hole. These are not journalists. These are documentary storytellers, right? So...
Yeah, I think it's weird whenever there's a documentary about a person and that person is involved, it's never, you're only going to get a skewed version of it.
Yeah. So WWE, I think this is a huge statement. They've removed Rick from the opening video package of their TV programming. His signature woo used to open up the video, but it didn't open up the video package last night on Raw. And when WWE is putting that kind of distance on you, I think that should send a signal. I know that, here we go. Somebody already is talking about it. Nicholas, my buddy, plant friend. I wonder if Tony Khan is going to hire Rick to manage Andrade since all this stuff has come out. And I think it would be really, really bad for AEW to hitch its train or wagon to Ric Flair at the moment. I mean, much like Tommy Dreamer, I need to see remorse for the actions and an acceptance that growth can be had. And I don't see that from anybody in this situation, EJ.
Yes, accountability is a big, big thing. I think a lot of people don't take the time to acknowledge and to deal with. I don't think he should go to AEW. I saw a question online, and it made me, and it was a good question. They said, "Do we need Ric Flair in wrestling right now?"
Probably not.
And I don't think we do.
Nope. I think we don't need Ricks. We don't need Tommies. We don't need some others that I think will be, gone in the coming, time. But, in the moment, we're in a weeding out process. The new. I am very impressed by the new generation of pro wrestlers. The thing that scares me the most is the idea that old mentality, like when I see older wrestlers attach themselves to younger wrestlers, and knowing those older wrestlers have those bad habits and that old ideology, and trying to find people to hand that ideology to create like kind of a new type of cabal, get a new generation of people that are willing to play ball that way and reward them. That's what I worry about. And removing those influences from pro wrestling right now is the highest of priorities, in my opinion, at the moment. Like physically removing these people that are passing down this kind of culture and ideology to the next generation. That's what's got to go right now.
Absolutely. You hear it all the time. They're like, man, these guys don't go out and drink anymore. They just want to play video games. Ugh. And it's like, yeah, they're protecting their bodies and having fun and not getting into trouble and drugs.
Yeah, by and large. I mean, everybody likes to drink and,
Yeah, everybody,
you have a good time your own way or whatever, smoke a little grass, whatever it may be. But like, this isn't kind of hard partying, pill cracking, H-bomb dropping. Like, I don't hear about that culture. What I do hear about is old guard telling those kinds of stories as like the old days, the good old days, or romanticizing that period. And in some cases, passing down that culture or attempting to the next generation to protect themselves and find people that they can reward and work with on their messed up level for years to come. So,
yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I would prefer those people. The only job that they should be allowed to have is watch. Hey, can you watch my match and comment on it? I don't want to hear anything about. Don't tell me to go out and drink. Don't tell me I need to buy everybody the boys beers. Just enjoy yourself and live your life. Also, I'm going to ask you earlier: is that Nicholas Plant you as a plant?
It's not.
Are you being an audience plant, Nick?
It's not. I'm not the plant. I'm not the plant. If you think that I have the dexterity to both host the show and type at the same time, you are overestimating Nick Hausman. That is the truth right there.
Okay, fair. Gave too much credit.
That's the God's honest truth. I got these really strong CBD gummies, like 20,000 milligrams or the 2,000 milligrams of bear. I took one of those things last night, man. I slept like a baby. I am loose as a goose here today, but I can't do that. No way.
I feel you. No, those things will get you. My mom tried them once. I have a question for you, too. Now, we talked about Ric Flair being out of the intro video. Do you think they do the Hulk Hogan thing and just like wait a few years and kind of try to bring him back in?
We'll see, right? We do know this more about WWE. So they've removed all of Flair's merchandise from WWE Shop. We know that WWE Shop had several Flair items up as of last week, but a search for his name right now brings up no items. This is interesting as WWE Shop began taking pre-orders for the $999 limited edition Flair Legacy replica belt back on September 10th. There were only 500 Flair Legacy belts created, but the page has been deleted. And these latest moves come after WWE removed the first episode of their animated Storytime series for Peacock and the network. The Storytime episode featured Flair talking about when he flew to Hawaii in 1986 and allegedly had 6 flight attendants trying to get him to strip down to his robe. Flair said he doesn't wear anything under my robe and commented on how the head flight attendant had a large chest, a busty woman. Again, WWE playing cleanup here. And I'll go back to your question now that I got all the way. Do they try to Hogan him here, right? Do they wait it out, try to find the right time? Maybe. I mean, Hulk was decidedly still with WWE when all that stuff went down, right? Like he was back with the company. He was trying to work with them. He's trying to do projects. Then everything hit the fan and they put him away and they waited for the time to be right. The lawsuit had played out. He had apologized, whatever they want to say he did to make it right. They found a way. Rick left the company about a month and a half coincidentally before this all went down. Now, at the time, the reports were that he was having issues creatively with WWE. I do wonder if my tinfoil hat on here, and I might have mentioned this on the show before, but like they filmed all this stuff for Dark Side of the Ring about a month and a half, 2 months before it got put out. From what I've gathered from talking to people, if word got out to Rick that this stuff was going to come out and this flight attendant was going to talk and it's not going to be good for him, maybe he did amicably part ways to protect the company, to protect Charlotte, to protect all these people, and just step aside. I mean, I'm not saying that did happen, but I'm saying I think that's hypothetically possible. And if that was the case, then I think maybe there is more a chance he does the Hulk Hogan route. But if he left and wasn't happy, and the reports were true, and he just felt disgruntled, harder sell. Do
you think we could flip the tinfoil hat and say once he left, WWE caught wind of it and were like, yes, let it come out? Because I feel like something like that WWE would try to step on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, but WWE can't step on this. Like, I don't think Evan and JC and the Vice TV guys, I don't think they would step down.
Yeah, true. I was just thinking about the other episodes, and I was like, yeah, never mind.
I mean, if they're not going to go after him over the Owen stuff and the Benoit stuff, like, I mean, this is pretty bad. And like, I get, there's all this stuff. Coachman coming out and saying that Vince wasn't on the flight with Linda, and then on the episode they said he was on the flight. That's all very confusing. I'd like to get a real clear idea of what the McMahon's role was on that. That's a question I have coming out of it. So, I don't know.
Yeah. It was like, he's in the front, but he's not saying anything. It was like, that.
How do you know?
Huh.
Yeah. I had heard another story about, well, again, I don't want to get, again, who's watching right now. I don't want to get litigious, but I've heard stories about Vince that pin him on that flight. But again, there's so many flights. Maybe people got confused, but I'm still a little shady on that one. So anyway, the last item here about Ric Flair, before we get to our very fun conversation about Monday Night Raw, Flair has also apparently lost a New York Comic-Con booking due to the Dark Side fallout. And I wonder Rick has been riding such a high for a good while here. I mean, just picking up every booking, doing a lot of mainstream stuff, working with some high-profile people. If Rick can't control himself enough to lay low here right now and have somebody that he trusts craft a better statement, or he himself have some introspection to craft a statement that does not include him going on the attack, right? And acting the way he did, like Harvey Weinstein's pit bull here, then I don't know how much control a down and out, pre-Happy Corbin, Baron Corbin, Ric Flair is going to be. I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah, you don't want to see him cornered and see where else that can go. I'm hoping he sits his ass down, puts his phone away. I'm hoping that everybody connected, everybody that he said told him not to, took his phone and was like, this is what we said not to do. What are you doing? And he just has some time to really look inside of himself and own that BS, own what you did. Be a better person and show how you're going to be better.
It's just the re-traumatization that I can only imagine this poor flight attendant is going through right now. Coming forward, putting the truth out there, being surrounded by people that want to love and support her through this and applaud her bravery, and then have the guy who assaulted you attack you again is just really, really trash bag stuff. Like the kind of stuff you send to Mickey James's house, So, sorry, I deal with everything with humor. I apologize. Maybe
I know, I feel you, but no, there's probably trash bag Flair stands there like, no, he's cool. He didn't do anything wrong. He's probably bothering her too. Because folks are wild out here. It's all unfortunate. But I'm glad that it came to light. And hopefully this will make more people speak out about allegations or anything that they've dealt with that they felt like they had to hide.
Yep. Yeah. And definitely a signal needs to be changed that the business is changing and this behavior is no longer appropriate. So, with that, let's move on. We're going to talk about Monday Night Raw. Last night was a big Monday Night Raw. The tone was set by WrestleVotes. They said some chatter I heard over the weekend included how important Raw's number is. Draft plans aside, with their biggest full-time star and Roman Reigns being advertised to work tonight's Raw, a bigger number than normal would open the box to showcasing main superstars on both brands. And it begins. Do we get a draft or do we get a merge? What's going to happen here on October 1st? I don't know.
It's going to be what happens every year, Nick. We get a draft for 2 days, and then we get a merge where they say one person's allowed on the 15th of the month, depending which way the moon is shining, and then someone can come over. And then we'll just accept it.
Witchcraft. Right, witchcraft determines the ways in which people can appear on each brand. 100%, I get that. Yeah, I do think it is interesting here. Like what? Yeah, what does that mean? Like they're gonna have a draft, but then they're also gonna let Roman be on both shows. That doesn't seem to make any sense. Like this feels to me more dependent. Like what is a Roman Reigns? What does the Reigns bump look like? If there's no bump, that's not a great thing for Reigns, I would think. But if there's like a substantial bump, what does that look like? They're trying to measure that. I think in some ways.
And would it be both champions? Because SmackDown had Big E come back.
True. Yeah.
So maybe they're just tempting like the two big guys, the big heavies, until Survivor Series?
I guess. Maybe. Does kind of look that way. Well, Roman Reigns did defeat Bobby Lashley and Big E in the Raw main event, pinning Lashley, not Big E. So earlier in the night, Bloodline did manage to beat the New Day, but Lashley came out, beat everybody up. Reigns was able to pin Woods. That's what set up this match. Following the main event, it was announced that the Demon Finn Balor versus Reigns for the Universal title at Extreme Rules is going to be held under Extreme Rules. So Reigns walks into Raw. Big hype. Expectations he's going to turn the ratings around. Chance to maybe make somebody off of Reigns, but instead they just have Reigns just destroy everybody. I thought it was...
He destroy.
He beats everybody. He beat everybody. Yeah,
I am fine with that because he has a title match on Sunday. I'll allow it in the way he won. But I think Bobby Lashley came out looking the best out of the whole thing, even though he took the loss. But when he came out and just beat everybody, I legit stood up and was like, yes, yes. I was like, please go in. And I was like, please get Reigns too, get Reigns. And when he went in and spared Reigns, I stood up and screamed. I love the match too. The match was up.
Are you happy that Lashley wasn't flanked by a reunited Hurt Business, or were you a little let down that didn't happen?
I wish he had the Hurt Business, because you have Hurt Business, New Day, and the Bloodline. There's some sort of like these entities that can just all like meeting in the center. That would have been so dope, because then you could have the triple threat, and then you could have a 6-man tag or whatever sort of triple threat tag match, which would have been crazy. I don't know. Right. That would have been dope. I would have liked to see that.
I see Keenan Capin here saying Big E lost 2 matches in one night. Yeah, technically lost a 6th man, didn't get pinned. Also lost the main event, but didn't get pinned. Right? He lost, but he never got pinned. Never pinned, never submitted. Big E. But that's the thing, is like, this is Big E's show. I thought he was going to pin Lashley, or Lashley was going to like do something crazy to Reigns, put him through a table and then a wall and through a post, and then, I don't know, something. But I mean, I honestly, I thought Big E was going to pin Lashley. I was surprised that Big E wasn't the one to close that show as the dominant one.
That would have made way more sense, and that's what I'd like to see. But I feel like they're trying to set up the Lashley E, because that chair beatdown, Lashley beat you down with a chair. I don't care how big you are, buddy. You're not moving. So
yeah, this is the best Lashley we've ever seen. This guy's just imposing, angry. He's great.
Like, the last time I loved him this much was when he fought Kofi one-on-one and just tore him apart, just all around the place. When he just showed up and wrecked shop, that's what he should have done. He's mad he lost his title. Just destroy everybody and leave. That is Lashley.
Well, we also got new women's tag team champions last night. Nikki Ash, Rhea Ripley. They defeated Natalya and Tamina Snuka to become the new champs. It came after a inside cradle there with Nikki Ash pinning Natalya, who was going for the sharpshooter. This is all like everything with Nikki Ash. It's all happening so fast. She's Money in the Bank. She's champion. She's not the champion. She's a tag team. Now she's a tag team champion. Like, it's all happening so fast. Like, I mean, it got a good pop and reaction from the audience, but I'm getting whiplash with the way they're booking Nikki Ash right now.
Yeah, whiplash, just like those camera cuts on Raw. That's how we're feeling, getting those whiplashes. We got to talk to somebody about that. She just showed up as a superhero and almost a superhero, but she's not, and she just keeps moved around and stuff. And on top of that, I saw people on Twitter, they were asking, what happened to Shotzi and Knox?
Yeah, I think they're over on SmackDown.
But they beat Natalya and Tamina like 3 times. Never got a title match.
Oh, yeah, I get that. Oh, for sure. Yes, I understand that. Well, that's very frustrating for sure. But again, Nikki Ash, Rhea Ripley, I mean, it makes no – I mean, they're very dominant. I know they're getting a push, but all happened so fast. This thing, again, it got a good pop. They needed a show that had some things happen on it. So I guess this is just kind of one of the things they decided to move on. I thought that, they did that Connor's Cure promo before the match, and as soon as they then came to the ring and it was announced it was tag title match, I was like, well, they're gonna win. Can't beat the way you just put over the kid cancer company or society, right?
I was like, I mean, Tamina's not gonna hit him with a chair or anything. I just think they're gonna do this odd couple thing and ride it out for a while. This Rhea Ripley and Nikki, like, I like their energies together, but it's all way too fast. I wish they stretched it out a little bit longer, just so we could earn it more and then appreciate it a little bit more.
I didn't. Also, I don't want to rag too hard, but Rhea Ripley's like promo about Connor's Cure, like, did she just forget all the words or whatever? Like, the pacing of that promo was really weird. Was I the only one who thought that, or did you pick up on that too?
Oh, absolutely. As an actor, yes, I did, Nick. I could see Nikki feeding her the lines at times. Because she was like, we've raised so much money and charities. Yeah. And I think it was one of those moments where they wrote it for her. They probably changed it a bunch. As I've said, these people are not actors. They are not. So if you give them a script and send them out there and they're not comfortable with it, and it's not talking about how I'm going to punch you in the face, that might be very hard for her. And I don't know. And she did the quiver voice. I'm hoping that was real and not like a put on. But yeah, I don't know if she was the person to cut that promo.
Yeah, it was very stilted. And again, like, it's just, you think about Vince and all these execs backstage. They're like watching everything, and like promos are such a big part of it. Like, I don't know. It just stood out to me as something.
And I feel bad as a person who's always like, give the foreign wrestlers a chance to cut a promo, but also, I don't know. It's just,
she speaks English. Like, English is her. She speaks English with an accent. EJ. It's not like
yeah,
she's.
but I don't want to, oh, yeah, Clarky, yeah, well, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know if that was the promo for her. I think they could have had somebody else come out and say those things with a bit more eloquently.
Well, also we found out Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus versus Damian Priest for the U.S. title is now official for Extreme Rules. Rossa Hardy beat Sheamus in singles action for the stipulation. Hardy has now earned a spot in the Sheamus Priest title match. I feel like this is it's a continued reaction to how upset everybody got that Jeff Hardy was in the 24/7 title picture a couple weeks ago. Yes?
Absolutely. You have fans in the building. You put on a Jeff Hardy match. I don't care who he's wrestling. We love Jeff Hardy. Every time I watch Jeff Hardy's matches, I don't know, he just gets it in that sense of he's with the audience, and the audience, every time he does something, you just feel it more. I can't explain it, but we should be seeing him more. He should be wrestling some of the younger guys so they could learn that and grow the business to the future. So, hey, I'm glad he's in the triple threat, but come on, man, use Hardy better. He shouldn't be in the 24/7 running around backstage. But he's such a yeah, man, that was just what I had to do this week, dude.
Hey, well, but here's the thing. So, like, the 24/7 division is being, like, refocused again as, like, a series of comedy sketches. Not on the run sheet here, EJ, but 1 to 10 is professional comedy writer. What do you give the new Alliance of Supervillains versus Reggie segment with the giant net? What do you give that on a scale? 1 to 10.
It's fine. I accept it because it's different, and it fits that because Reggie's the champion and he's such a flippy dude, they have to do extra stuff. I'm terrified that they're going to have him, Reggie, and John Morrison parkouring around for the 24/7 title, chasing each other, playing ultimate tag. Or will that be awesome? I don't know yet.
Honestly, I would prefer that. I think John Morrison and Reggie in a series of parkour related, like one long John Wick scene spread out over 20 weeks of Raw, just a constant chase of these two battling back and forth. Yeah. Right. One long shot. I don't know. It's interesting to me because you have these badasses that are genuinely believable, and like Lashley and Roman Reigns and Big E. And then you throw in this stuff that is so obviously not for that audience with kids, which is like this stuff, which was written for like an 8-year-old. The Alexa Bliss Charlotte stuff with Charlie the doll, also written for 8-year-olds. Like the back and forth seesawing of what I thought Raw was actually largely much more enjoyable last night than usual. But it's still glaring where they'll just throw stuff in. Like, they don't pick a lane, like pick a lane. They kind of, they throw that stuff in, I guess, for the kids.
It's that 3-ring circus that we talk about. You have one part of the circus is beatdowns and Lashley, and then the next circle is kitty, cutesy stuff, and then the next circle is just, see what we get. I like this Charlotte and Alexa. It is kind of like stupid. Everybody likes the Charlie doll, but they were kind of jabbing at each other a little bit, a little sharply there. But
it's a disconnect for me, and maybe it's just because I'm a jaded 36-year-old man. But like, as soon as I get a hint that this is not being booked to me, I'm just kind of like, all right, I guess I'll wait for the next segment. Kind of deal.
Yeah, you go to the bathroom.
Yeah. So. Also, I saw a couple people bring this up in the chat room already, but Keith Lee, he debuted a new nickname before Raw at the PNC Arena in Raleigh. So he won a squash match over a local talent. He was announced as Keith Bearcat Lee. Now, it's speculated that the Bearcat nickname is a reference to Bearcat Wright, a popular African-American pro wrestler from the 1950s and 60s who was posthumously inducted into the Hall of Fame's Legacy Wing in 2017. The nickname could also be a reference to Bearcat Brown, an innovative African-American wrestler who worked mainly the Memphis area in the 60s and 70s. Lee has also been growing back out his beard. He was back on the road with the Raw brand this past weekend, defeating Tozawa at non-televised WWE Super Show live events, playing the heel, and he defeated Shane Thorne before last Friday's SmackDown. And I know they're doing all these dark matches to retool and find out how Keith Lee works, but I can't wait till they roll this guy out. It's been 3 months of prep. We've got a perfect heel here, and the fans are just going to go nuts for this guy. Like, I don't know what lengths you have to go to get. I mean, not only is Keith Lee liked, but now they've given him a nickname that ties in to overlooked black pro wrestlers from the past. How is that man a heel, EJ?
Yeah, it's like that they don't know which direction they're stepping in.
No, what?
They're like, this will make them dislike you, Bearcat. You know, people love this guy back in the. I don't know. We'll see what happens after the draft. I'm assuming they're going to wait till the draft to unleash the Lee or the Bearcat, the man bear pig cat.
I guess I could see Vince being like, you know who you remind me of? Bearcat, right? Go be more like Bearcat. And then Vince walks away and Keith's like, Bearcat, what? Who is that? Right? Never heard of Bearcat. What?
He's just making up characters.
Bearcat, God. So we'll see what happens with Keith. Also, we'll see what happens with Karrion Kross. He was competing against Ricochet on WWE Main Event before Raw. He did not appear live on Raw for the second week in a row. Raw saw WWE air another Kross vignette, including highlights from some of his recent matches, as he commented on how he's pulverized everyone around him each week, which is not entirely true. WWE wondered who's next for Kross. Kross's last Raw win came on the September 6th Raw when he defeated John Morrison by submission. Still no word on when Scarlett might join Kross on Raw, but fans on social media pointed out how she could be heard chanting "Fall and Pray" during the end of the Raw vignette. And maybe Kross, like Keith, I think you brought up a good point. The draft is on the horizon. Maybe that's the chance to let these guys lay low a little bit longer right now, bring them back, and do something different with them if you can put a plan together, you know?
Yeah, I wish they played more vignettes like this before he showed up and lost. But, you know, I can't. Do you think they're going to keep the Spartacus outfit on him?
I mean, they showed it a bunch of that vignette, didn't they? I don't know, man. I would ditch it. I think you take the feedback, and if you're retooling this guy and you're like, what worked, what didn't work, I don't think anybody in the room saying, you know what worked? That gladiator gear, you know.
But these guys have to be like, I would stop him and say, yo, I don't like this. I get this is my job, but I don't like this. This isn't going to work.
Yeah. Well, you know, we talk about plans. If they have a plan for these guys, we better bring them back in the draft. Well, Becky Lynch was talking with TalkSport, and she confirmed that WrestleMania 37 was supposed to feature a match with her and Bayley. It was in the works. It didn't happen. She then confirmed reports that she was not returning until October after the draft. However, WWE called her the week of SummerSlam, and that's when she made her big return to win the title. And, you know, what surprises me so much about this is that there was plans for her to fight Bayley at WrestleMania, presumably as the babyface, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Bayley's this huge heel. You bring Becky back as a babyface at WrestleMania, huge reaction. We sell tons of shirts, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They have a history with each other.
That seems well thought out. That seems to make sense, EJ. Yeah. Right? Didn't Bayley go down with injury like just before WrestleMania, though? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, she went down right before WrestleMania, I believe.
Yeah, she was supposed to fight Bianca and then went. Yeah,
so that may have thrown a wrench into it. But then, you know, they're like, all right, we're putting together plans for you after the draft. At what point they just say, hey, it's the week of SummerSlam. Sasha can't be here. Let's bring back Becky now, but as a heel, hear me out, right? Like, it shows how quickly, like, major creative decisions can change at WWE. We're under both circumstances here. It would seem that they had sold her on coming back as a babyface. Why they chose to bring her back then and as a heel, I still don't completely understand it. I don't
It
get it.
doesn't make sense. It's that butterfly effect thing. But didn't we hear that she wanted to be a heel?
Well, but that's the thing is like, no offense, but like, even if she wanted to be a heel, this is not the moment to do it. I would bring her back, sell shirts for 6 months, and then after the groundswell from her return to pro wrestling has died down, take your shot at the Rumble leading into Mania or something like that. Reacclimate the fans to Becky Lynch before she makes the turn. Just bringing her back, quickly turning her heel. I mean, I don't get the look. She looks like Power Man 5000. That's a reference for you older gentlemen right there. And
I like her look. I do like her look. I was like, oh, okay, with your little outfits. I'm guessing her and Seth are just supposed to be like a tacky couple.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know that they're going to put it back together or not.
I don't even know if they will, and I don't care. Can you imagine them going out dressed like that together just to go get dinner?
I can, actually.
Horrible.
All right, lastly here, I want to send our best out. The Observer states Sami Callihan broke his ankle at Saturday's Impact tapings, expected to be out of action until next year. No word on how the injury occurred, but Callihan is going to undergo surgery if he hasn't already. And Sami, just want to send our best out to you. He's been a real high point for them and does really good work. And just unfortunate to hear somebody going down right now like Sami, who's really kind of, I think, arguably doing the best work of his career and really kind of in his prime right now.
Agreed. Speed of recovery. It's always unfortunate when you find somebody, when they find their sweet spot and they're like in their money area, you know what I mean? Their money zone, and then they get taken out by an injury. Injuries suck in general, but I hope you get back better and you get back to doing what you love, Sami.
All right, EJ, thank you for joining me at the Top Show Talk, all the news of the day. Thank you to everybody for jumping in the comment section here as well. Elizabeth Rabe here, by the way, with a wonderful, are you a judge, Elizabeth? Are you a lawyer? You look very professional. Nick Hausman. Bayley got injured right before WWE went back to live events back in mid-July 2021. Bayley did not get injured by WrestleMania 37, which was April, so she was around. Okay, well, thank you very much. So I don't know why that match didn't happen then, EJ.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they did Bianca Sasha at WrestleMania.
And she did, and Bayley did like some kind of ding dong segment, didn't she, or something like that?
Yeah, she wasn't on the card, and everybody was like, "What?"
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why they didn't. That was a golden opportunity to bring Becky back there and just make that money. Make that money. All right. So today's poll question comes to us from @WinkDaily, WINC Daily over on Twitter. Currently at 1,280 followers. My personal favorite number, coincidentally, is 1,281. So if you follow us, that you'll be that lucky number that is my favorite number. So go give us a follower.
You know that lucky number.
Such a coincidence. So today we're in the mailbag. We haven't really talked at all today about AEW, so I figured let's talk a bit about AEW in the mailbag. Wrestle Talk caught up with FTW champion Ricky Starks, and he revealed he is set to replace Mark Henry on the AEW Rampage commentary team moving forward. He had previously made guest commentary appearances on Dark with Taz and Excalibur. Henry is still going to work Friday's Rampage doing backstage interviews, so it's likely that he's going to continue to be on the show in that role. But I'm not against it, but I'm a little surprised they're going to take an active wrestler, arguably in his prime. I don't know if I don't want to speculate if he's injured or anything like that. I don't think he is, but like that's very rare to move somebody that is an active participant into a commentary role. I can't think of many examples.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, this doesn't make too much sense unless this is what he wants to be doing, and he finds that, like preparing himself for the future in case he gets to a point where he can't wrestle anymore. Or maybe he has a time frame where he's like, okay, cool. 2 more years, I'm done, and I'm going to be on commentary.
And I could see this being a temporary move too, right? Like, Mike Martin here, Mark Henry needed to be replaced. I think that's a little harsh, but I think it's like a 4-man booth or something they got there on that.
Too many people on the booth.
Wait, Jericho's got to go too. I think he's just too loud in the room. Mark is great with the backstage stuff. And also, like, I know he's doing a lot with AEW to help them expand their footprint with charities. and community outreach. So he might be prioritizing that right now to do more focus on that. And he's been very open about, he just turned 50. I think it was back in June of this year. So a few months ago, he wants to wrestle in another decade of his life. And now that he's in his 50s, he's not had to do that. So maybe Mark moving out of commentary to prepare, for another match or two here. I mean, there's a lot of things involved here outside of just, was Mark Henry just kind of an unneeded voice on commentary, Yeah,
there's a lot of moving parts. What I don't know who decided 4 people on color commentary was going to be the move, but it is terrible.
I don't know why you don't just shuffle Mark out and keep it to 3. I would even maybe for that.
That's what I was saying. I was like, just take one person off at least. Yeah.
So while we're talking about the commentary team, I thought, AEW has an inordinate amount of commentators at the moment. A lot of commentators, a lot of voices. But who is your favorite? Who is your favorite AEW commentator? That's the question today. The choice I gave you were Jim Ross, Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, or somebody else. Well, nearly 500 votes here in the last hour. 32.2 Excalibur, 30.6 Jim Ross, 31% Tony Schiavone, and 6.2 for somebody else. But only separated by less than 2% are Jim Ross, Excalibur, and Tony Schiavone. I thought that there'd be more write-ins and stuff.
I was expecting that too. I thought more people, at least when I first voted, because I voted first thing, there were way more in the percentage-wise write-ins, but I guess people are feeling different. I voted for Tony Schiavone myself.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Excalibur is needed, 100%. I like Tony Schiavone's voice. It reminds me of An Easier Time. And I just like... I like how he puts things over. I like his energy and his excitement. He has like a commentary voice, if you will, like a radio announcer for sports, a sports commentator.
I said Excalibur just because I think that it's important to reward young voices in the booth that have a familiarity with the talent. I also think that it's I like the mass commentator look. It's different. I think it's kind of cool. And I think he takes the job very, very seriously. So for that reason, I went with Excalibur.
Oh, yeah. He's the glue holding all of them together and moving things along and helping.
But there were a lot of write-ins over in the Twitter portion here that said Taz. That was by and large the greatest amount of write-in votes over on Twitter was Taz. So we'll take that. And then over here from the comment section, we have Nicholas, my plant. Jim Ross is my favorite. Praddock, Jim Ross. Uncle Wally, 83. Tony, Cuban for Life, 93. Jericho is good. Brian Bills, 1417. JR is tough, but Praddock saying Taz is good.
JR tough. Taz good.
Taz is great. Antonio Garcia, Excalibur, he's unique to AEW. Tony Schiavone is good for storytelling. Daniel Price, I usually keep it muted. JR is getting sad. Schiavone forcing the upbeat nature is getting old, and I want to choke Excalibur. Well, that seems very negative, Daniel, and a little aggressive. Chill out. Chillax.
It's like, what do you like then?
So that's going to wrap us up here for today, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Tomorrow, I'm going to be back and we'll be joined by Brian Wool, who you heard earlier talking to Dewdrop. That interview, by the way, already up on the Wrestling Inc. YouTube channel if you want to go check that out after the show. And come on back tomorrow, not just me and Brian. I'm going to air one of my conversations. It'll either be my conversation with gimmick attorney Mike Dawkins or MLW star EJ the Judge in Duca, who is on the tear right now in MLW. And if you like the Wrestling Inc. Daily, support WrestlingInc.com. We're on all the socials, and the Wrestling Podcast is just like this, only at night after all the shows, including NXT tonight. So tune into that, and you can find it on your preferred podcast platform. The Wrestling Inc. Podcast, different than the Daily. Subscribe to both. EJ, what do you want to plug, promote, put over here to wrap up the show today?
I'm going to plug this new character now. I got to be EJ the Stenographer. Go with EJ the Judge or something. EJ the Bailiff. I'll stand there and look tough. Putting over, just being nice, guys. Be nice to people. Give me a follow at EJ_Cam19 if you would like. Be kind. Be safe. The weather's changing. Do everything you can to keep yourself not sick. It's going to be easy to get sick. There are other things besides COVID. This is the cold and the flu. Protect yourself.
Yeah, protect yourself, everybody. Don't wreck yourself, right? Protect yourself. Don't wreck yourself. Get vaxxed. Get vaxxed. Get vaxxed. Get vaxxed. Get vaxxed.
This after school PSA from the 90s. Nick Hausman with glasses. Well, hey, kids, do you like to rap?
Put your hands over your head and start to clap. Everybody here is getting the vax. That's right. We're getting the vax. Gotta wash your hands. Gotta wash your hands. Put that soap on your hands and wash your hands. Gotta put them around underneath the water. Put your hands in the soapy water. Everybody put your hands and clap. Everybody goes on.
This is how we dry our hands now.
There's a fog machine. There's a giant bag of nickel candy. You know, it's a, you know what? I'm going to bring this thing to life. It's coming to.
We got to go tour the schools. Yeah, we got to go do this, Nick.
Got to get back together. EJ and I, we met in the yard. We met in the yard, EJ and I
really did.
The schoolyard.
The schoolyard.
Just two grown men hanging out in the schoolyard. That's how we met.
Talking wrestling.
A story for another day.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but the viewership just peaked for the show. So I think everybody was really digging the song. So anyway, we're going to
So you want more rap in the show is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Hey, and John Q here saying, Nick is fake woke AT. I don't even know what the AT is, but hey, I'm the realest of real. I'm woke. I'm 4 a.m. It's a cup of coffee. That's how woke I am. Boom.
I stay open.
Let's go to the flea market and sell hot chocolate. I'm woke. I'm so woke. Anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in. I will talk to you all tomorrow. And remember, if you winked, you didn't miss it.